Welcome back into the show, everybody. Rob Ellis, Derek Gunn with you on this Thursday. Our next guest does an amazing job as both an analyst on NBC Sports Washington and also a host on 106.7 The Fan. Of course, you know him from his years playing in the NFL with both Washington, the Eagles, and the Giants as well. The one and only Brian Mitchell. B. Mitch, welcome to the show, man. How you making out?
I'm good, man. How y'all doing?
Good, man.
Brian, we're good, man. We're trying to, I'm sure you're being inundated with this. We're trying to make, figure out exactly what's happening here with everything that's flying and coming down regarding the Washington Commanders here and the District Attorney of District of Columbia Attorney General, and what Carl Racine had to say. Essentially this has been a full-blown cover-up by not only the team itself, but by the NFL and Roger Goodell, to try to get bilk money out of the constituents, the customers, if you will, and cover up a lot of the wrongdoings. What's the word in Washington?
Well, I think exactly that. He's basically saying that, Roger Goodell and Dan Snyder basically signed a secret deal behind the scenes as to say that we're going to have everything transparent. We're going to let you know everything. And, while still asking people for this, that, and the other, want to make sure that they get to promote the team well, get their season tickets and all that stuff signed up. But in essence, with all the information that they were gathering, they did not ever send it out to the public. So I guess Racine feels that he has to go and protect the constituents here in D.C., some of those fans that were wrong. And then, it's another thing that's floating in the background where, there was deposits that was supposed to be sent back to the guy, to a lot of fans. That stuff is starting to all of a sudden now when someone reported this when they had one of these little hearings. Now you're getting letters saying that we owe you some money, but they're trying to get people to sign NDAs in the process. So it's a lot of stuff going on. And I believe by Goodell sitting here and having that secret deal and then coming back and say, well, you know what? Dan Snyder controls all of it. How do you investigate somebody that you give all control to?
Hey, B. Mitch, let's go back to the beginning, because there are 32 NFL entities out there. Okay. Mm-hmm. Why do you think the world dropped on Washington? Why do you think so many outside entities decided to go after the Washington franchise more so than any? Because let's face it, we all know there's a whole lot of dirt behind closed doors with every franchise in the National Football League.
Well, I think when things are going on and you constantly hear and everyone keeps telling you no, it's not, and then you get so demonstrative when you go against people. I've always felt that when you get like combatant against people and you say things like I will never change the name, you wake up people that don't care about what you're even talking about. Yeah. And I think the same thing has happened now, where every time something comes up, they attack the witnesses. They attack the people that are complaining. And I think a lot of people are just sick and tired of it. And now it's about, okay, so you think you can beat everybody? And I think they tried it. And I think even the NFL now recognizing that we cannot protect this and cover this guy up anymore. We need to get somebody else in place.
So is that your sense, Brian? Like we heard a couple weeks ago, he was reaching out to financiers to potentially sell the team. You think he's trying to get out before they really get him, or is it too late at this point?
I have no other thing but to believe that, because all of a sudden this comes out, and then he responded and he said, you know what, we are looking at all our options, but they never said they weren't selling. Okay. Right. And then another story came out right after that. Okay. Then this story comes up yesterday, and then all of a sudden they're trying to use Brian Robinson's shooting as a cover, as a shield. Yes. It's like everything that you do seems to be wrong. They got people in place. They got this new lady, Medina, whatever her name is, supposed to be handling their all of their communications and things of that nature. She is the type of person, all she does is attack people. Well, you know what? You got a bunch of people here in this town. This is a political town. Right. You come in attacking, you can get attacked by every damn body. You won't be able to stand up. So I think what we're now seeing is so many people are trying to go with the mindset that we've seen in the political realm, where, you know what, let's just attack everybody. Let's just say whatever we want to say. And they think that works. Well, right now, we're finding out that eventually when you're doing wrong, it catches up with you.
All right, B. Mitch. You've seen the movie New Jack City, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's my Nino Brown theory right now. All right, so it came out a few weeks ago when all this started to really heat up. that according to anonymous sources, Daniel Snyder has said he has all this dirt on the commissioner, owners, coaches, current and former coaches, former current players, and that if they back him in a quarter, he's going to come out swinging. Now that this bombshell dropped today, he's backed in even more of a corner now. Okay. Do you think there's any way possible, knowing what you know about a Daniel Snyder, that he would betray the fraternity and go under the umbrella of, if I'm going down, I'm taking everybody with me?
You know what? That sounded good. It sounded like it was a good movie. But as soon as he said that, we saw one of those guys in that fraternity come right out and say, I think we should get rid of it. And what he's going to do, all my stuff is out there, and Jim Irsay. Yeah. So, and listen, I don't think Jim Irsay acted alone. I don't think Jim Irsay said that by himself. I think every owner out there understands Jim Irsay, his dirt is out there already.
Yeah.
So he's willing to speak. Let him speak. We're gonna support him from behind. So ultimately, they probably send him a message secretly and say, we got stuff on YouTube. Let's go.
Right.
Ooh,
yeah, it does kind of feel that way, Brian. That's for sure with everything that's been going on. How, or I'll ask you, it seems like there's always a circus going on, but do you feel like it's impacting the team presently? I'm talking present day right now.
Well, I think, as a former player, we are always taught, and we always say that nothing bothers us. We don't listen to the outside noise. You all have covered sports enough. You know that's a bunch of BS.
Yeah.
There was a story out today where Benjamin St. Just talked to a French newspaper, and he basically said that ever since I've gotten here, this team has had a dark cloud over it. He's saying this team is in need for a change. That's one person who is young, so he probably just don't know exactly how to deal with the status quo yet. So he's basically telling them that, you know what, yes. And if he said that, I have to believe they've had conversations. And I know people wonder, how does that affect the football player? Where if I'm sitting up here worried about my owner, he has to sell, I'm concerned about who's going to come in next. Am I going to get my checks and all that? And if it takes me away from doing my studies and getting ready for football just a little bit, it could be a major effect.
Hey, Brian, if you can, define what this team is or isn't right now. Obviously, the Carson Wentz experiment didn't work. Taylor Heineke gives them a little bit more juice. They're one game below sea level. You look at the last 5 games, all 5 of those games have been decided by 7 points or less. They're 3-2 in those games. What is this team or what isn't this team right now?
This team is a team that I think they're very good defensively, and I think they're very good up front. I believe that if your offensive line is anywhere good and you can nullify a little bit of what they are capable of, then I don't think the secondary holds up very well. When I look at the offense, I think that they have a problem with play calling. They don't have a consistency of what they do. I believe that the offensive line is weak. I think that they have 2 guys that can effectively run the football, but they don't stick to them long enough. And they have a lot of receivers, but they don't have the time to get the ball to the receivers. And they have quarterbacks who are inconsistent. And in Taylor Heineke, as you say, yeah, he give him a lot of juice, but at the end of the day, he's a backup. Yeah. I mean, let's be real about it. He'll go out there and throw, like the ball he threw that was a touchdown. That you don't throw that football. It was 3 people there. If
the referee got them that touchdown,
other defensive back is picked off. Then he comes back and he sells the ball. Why does he sell that ball? He's a guy who throws the ball kind of flat here. And there were like 5 to 6 knockdowns. All of a sudden, what do? You start trying to throw it a little higher. And he throws off his back foot a lot because he's worried about the pressure. Ball sells. So this team is, I would say, is inconsistent because they have some good talent on this football team, but not enough to compete with the higher level teams.
How the potential of getting Chase Young back, certainly that's an upgrade. They might have Jahan Dotson as well. How much can that impact and lift them, or is it kind of a nebulous kind of?
I think it can lift them some, but then I would wonder. This is his first time playing football since he got injured, and that's been, I think it was last week was the anniversary of that. So he's just a few days beyond a year that he hasn't really played football. I would ask the question: you all have seen guys come back from being injured. How effective will they be? Ron Rivera was asked, I think last week or a couple weeks ago, will he be on a pitch count? He said yes, he'll be on a pitch count. I think ultimately, if he comes back, his athleticism may be able to help him do some things, but is he in football shape just yet? I doubt that very seriously.
I've listened to you for years, and you have never pulled punches. Do you get much lashback from the organization for things that you've said about the team?
No. If they do it, they talk behind my back. They don't say anything in my face. I've been in everybody's face that make decisions, and they don't say anything. But I look at it like this. I think I do a well enough job of researching and talking about things that that really make sense and things I see. I don't try to get personal with any of the guys. Right. But you know what? I've made a comment to him a long time ago. If I say something that's right, that's not right, okay, and you believe it's not right, come to me and show me I'm wrong. I will go on air and apologize. But if I'm not wrong and you came at me, I will be coming back at you full force. So nobody's ever said anything to me.
Okay, all right.
Don't mess with me, Mitch.
That's some mafia stuff right there.
I'm a little scared to ask a question now at this point. Brian, what are your thoughts on the Eagles, man? I mean, 8-0 start so far, and they're taking the ball away from the opponent. They're not turning the ball over. Two obviously big keys thus far. But what's your sense of what you've seen from them? I'm
looking at a team that, Coach came in and Sirianni, when he had his press conference, everybody like, who the hell is this character? But you know what? What you've learned now is that the guy can coach, okay? And he gets his guys to respond to him. Jalen Hurts, he comes in, and people say, well, he can't do this, that, and the other. But you know what? Now look at him this year. He's making the proper decision. He get the ball out of his hands rather quickly, and he runs when he needs to run. He's not just running just because now. The defense, when you lost a few people, then all of a sudden, that defense up front you have, get pressure on the quarterback rushing 4. When you can do that with a secondary that's good, you're going to be very effective. So I believe the team is for real because they now, at the quarterback position, they have a leader. Jalen may be a young dude, but you look at the way he handled the situation with Tua in college. You look at the way that he handled things once he got there, and look how he carries himself. The guy works his tail off. So you have a leader, and you have a bunch of guys that want to be good. And I think that's the ultimate thing. I hear a lot of people tell me how great coaches are. I don't need to hear what you say about how great a coach is. All I got to do is watch how your players play for you.
Yep.
And I'm watching that team, and I believe Coach Sirianni is doing a damn good job because these guys respond, and they go out there and they play for him and each other.
All right, B. Mitch, I know you're short on time because you have other commitments, but I have to ask you, who do you think the biggest – we had Sal Paolantonio on earlier on this show. Who do you think the biggest threat is to the Eagles in the NFC?
I still believe Dallas is the biggest threat. I think I just watched Kirk Cousins and the Vikings play here last week, and I just see them as a team looking to do what he normally would do. Late in the game, just give it away. I'm looking at I don't think the 49ers are consistent enough at this point. So for me, it still is the Dallas Cowboys right there in their own division.
Okay. All right, B. Mitch, thanks for the time, man.
Thank you, brother. Always.
Check them out, 106.7 The Fan, of course, NBC Sports Washington as well. Brian, thanks for a couple of minutes. Thanks for squeezing us in.
Anytime, man. Y'all take care.
Take care. That's Brian Mitchell. Look, you're right, Gunner. He is a non-punch puller, meaning he doesn't care if you play for the team. He doesn't care what feathers are ruffled. He is going to lay it out exactly the way he sees it. You could agree, you could disagree, but he's going to give you his truth.
I've heard him make comments like, "Oh," and I go, "Oh my goodness!" But you know what? Like you just said, nobody ever comes back at him because they don't have any ground to stand on. I mean, It's not like he doesn't have to embellish stuff. I mean, he played the game a long time. He's covered that team. He still has contacts within the organization. So it's not like he's out there looking for clickbait and stuff like that. He tells it like it is. In this day and age of clickbaits and all this stuff and helping your so-called brand, that's not Brian Mitchell. Brian Mitchell has always told it like it is, and he always will.
No question. So obviously the big story in the NFL